All right, this is the overview video for BirthSync provider accounts. What is a provider account? If you are a provider, you will not have admin privileges. You will typically be in the role of a caregiver, someone who maybe is contracted independently through an agency or is learning through a program that's a training program. Your role is going to be strictly caregiving based, and your dashboard will reflect that. So what we'll do is, as an overview, we're going to go through what your dashboard looks like when you log on, what all of these boxes mean, what your client directory has for you, and then what these side panels give you access to. For deep dives into each tab, those will be individual videos, but for this overview, this is just a rundown of exactly what everything is, what it means, and what you have access to as a assigned provider BirthSync's platform. So we'll start at the very top. Basically, you log in, you'll see the agency that you've logged into. In the corner here, you'll be able to just do a general search for clients or tasks by name if you just want to pull something up quickly. Typically, everything on your screen is here, though, on this page. And then, of course, you have access to the ticketing, which you have in two places. You have it here under report issue, and you also have it here under my tickets. It's the exact same modal that you would fill out. In your notification, so you get bell notifications in this top corner here. If you click this, you will see basically what could be assigned to you. If you have a message from a client, it shows here. As you can see, there are private messages for this provider. There is a lead booking that came in and requested this provider, so they get that notification. So there are notifications that will come through. If a form was filled out on a client that you are assigned to, you'll get those notifications. And you can just check them off if you want to keep tabs on what you've received. You can also delete them completely. Once you delete them, they cannot be recovered. So that if you want to keep an idea or just keep a tab of what's happening, or what's happening for the week or for the month, just to make sure you have a handle on things, I would suggest you acknowledge that they're read, but not necessarily delete them. But that, of course, is up to you. So now we're going to move to our main page. When you log in, of course, you'll come straight to the client records tab. That's your first tab. You'll have your visit follow-ups, upcoming visits that are scheduled to you, that have been scheduled either by you for your clients or by an admin for a client that you need to see. And then you have open tasks as well. You can assign yourself a task, or you can be assigned tasks through the admin staff, leadership staff of who you're working with. So under the client directory, you will only going to see who you are taking care of. And that's pretty simple. If you click on your clients, you will see the exact same client card that all providers and admins see. So there will be no restrictions for this for you here. You'll be able to see their snapshot. You'll be able to see client goals and education. You'll be able to see any screenings that were done here. You'll be able to see education that was logged, and you'll be able to log education, visit notes, records, and care forms. So you've got the forms here that may or may not apply to your workflow. And then you've got documents where you can request a document or upload documents for your clients. If your agency uses the portal, you will see portal activity here. So if something was scheduled for your client, you would see it. If they was sent something to sign, you would see it. Nothing to really do on this page, but it is just a place for you to know like what's going on in the interim with your client. And then this bundles tab again does not. It's going to be at the agency level as far as how much you do with it, but essentially it's just a way for you to log bundled visits, or visits that are what we call like the counted visits, or the visits that are maybe hourly or visit at a visit level. So your agency is going to be counting how many hours or how many visits your clients received. In this case, as you can see, this client has 2 active bundles, which means if you click on her bundle, she may have a visit here that you did that needs to be assigned a bundle or approved. Again, this is something that you will see, but you may not have to do anything with if your agency does not use this function, or if your admins cover assignment of like visits and hours to clients. So it's there, but again, it's basically going to be dependent on the workflow of your organization. So we've essentially covered what your page is. Now, if you decide to toggle down, we've got a notepad. Our notepad is a helper, so it helps you write your notes. If you select the type of visit and then the type of visit summary you need, whether it may be a handoff note or a visit summary, it uses our client visit note structure. So if you click on a client and you see the visit notes, you add a note. This will be covered in another video, but there are sections here that are typically covered in a visit that the note would take either your notes that you enter in here, or if you have a transcript of a conversation, if it was a virtual visit and you have that transcript, you can upload the text file and it would help you structure your output so that you can go ahead and enter your notes in a structured fashion. So that's just a helper tool. The calendar is where you'll see your visits. They'll be assigned to you, or you will schedule your own visits. As a provider, the only way you can schedule visits is by clicking on a client and adding schedule appointment. That will give you the modal you need to schedule the appointment. Once you schedule your appointment, it will show up. Past appointments will also show up. Moving on to the messages. This is our in-app messaging. And what in-app messaging allows you to do is when you have clients who are signed into their portal, like they've set it up on their end, you can message them and you would just click their name, click new. You can pick between a team thread where all providers that are assigned to your client will see them and see this message, or you can click a private thread where just you and the client are communicating. Once you send your first message to your client, you can then follow up with voice notes. So voice notes are only activated after the conversation starts. You can't start a conversation with a voice note because we need to authenticate through text or through some other file type. So once you start the conversation, they can send voice notes to you and you can send voice notes to them. This remains in app, which means you get an email saying that you received a message. You won't be able to hear the message through the email. You will have to log into your BirthSync account, come over to messaging and listen or just view the thread. For your team directory, if your organization has this activated, you will then just get a bird's eye view of the other providers that you're working with or that work with the agency. It is, again, something that is at the agency level. If they decide they want to activate this, you'll see it and you'll be able to see yourself and any of the information that you filled in when you assigned in. Under tasks, this is pretty self-explanatory, but you can add a task for yourself. As you can see, you can add it to any of the clients you're assigned to if you need to do something for them and you just want to have it on record. Once you create a task, admins can also see the task that you create. And they can also assign tasks to you, but you can only assign them to yourself as a provider. Our typical workflow is if you want to set something up for later, you just start it as pending. Once you actually start actively working on it, then you would just switch it to in progress. When it's completed, you just status it completed. You status it by just basically coming to the status and changing the status. For time management, this is where you can submit availability if this is a part of the workflow of your agency or organization. There's a separate video on how to do this. Same with the time tracking. It will take the visits that you have been assigned to and complete, and it will leave them here for you to log hours for your admins to collect based on the workflow and how that time is tracked and how those hours are tracked. But this is how BirthSync captures your time. two ways. This way, by just setting the log hours here for you to manually log or use a custom feature, and then you can log time manually if you're doing, extra visit or visit that wasn't on your calendar, some other assignment that would count, and you want to log it here, you can do so. For client resources, your agency will provide these for you, and they'll upload them for you to share with your clients. So there'll be categories here. This is just an example of one that you can share. You would click on the three dots and you would just go through the process. There's a separate video for that. For provider resources, it's much of the same. Now, this is for you as the provider or staff. Your agency will upload whatever they think is pertinent for you to know or have access to at all times, whether that's, FAQs or, whatever that is. It will sit here. It'll have its own categories, and it is something that you have, it's a resource for you. It is not something that you yourself would manage. So you wouldn't be uploading docs or videos or links or anything. You would just be have the agency level documentation that they want you to have as a resource. The knowledge base is from BirthSync to you. So all of users and all statuses will be able to view the platform overviews and resources and things that BirthSync puts out. Typically, our videos are like how to do this, how to do that. It gives you, some videos are overviews like this one. They're longer, and some of them are just very short and to the point. Some of them are resources. If you open up a link, this one is how to calculate your pregnancy history. If you're not familiar with the process of counting the obstetrical calendar of pregnancies, the counter, this gives you a resource on how to do that. And you just click it and you can really just kind of go through it. This is, again, we talked about tickets. This is where your tickets will live. Once you create a ticket, you go through the process. We ask that you do not include sensitive information in any of your tickets, like name. You can probably do email or a screenshot of the client's name, but nothing else. No MRNs if you're dealing with that. No social security numbers, no, critical identifiers, we like to call them, need to go here. We should be able to see what we need to see without those things in your tickets. And then the settings. So actually, it's last on the list, but it's really the first place you come. When you come as a new provider under the agency, you can upload your photo. That's going to feed into the team directory. First name, last name, email, of course. If you have a business phone number that you'd like the team directory to have or to see, you can place it there. Professional bio, certifications and trainings. And that is essentially your profile that you fill out. The other button is for calendars. You are able to connect a Gmail calendar to this, and it is a two-way sync. So you want to make sure that the calendar that you connect allows, for you to not have too much conflicting information, or it's not combined with, two or three other calendars to confuse the system. You want to just make sure it's a clean calendar that, is tracking your work and tracking your appointments. You can connect it here and it will feed appointments that are assigned to you will go to this calendar. And if your agency has a booking page that features your name or allows your clients to check your name and request a visit with you, that confirmed appointment would also come to your calendar, your Google Calendar. So that is how these two things for you to fill up works. That's essentially the overview. That's all of the tabs. Again, we have more specific videos, shorter videos that go just deep diving into what each thing is and what it does. But this is essentially what you will manage when you log in as a provider.